I'm really saying is that buying a $5 Starbucks coffee every day isn't what's stopping you from being rich, so don't let a random millionaire online shame you into believing that. Hi, just want to give a quick disclaimer. Everything that I'll be mentioning in this video is based off of my own opinions and observations. This video is not to target any specific personal finance influencer, but the community as a whole. Please don't go to any of the channels mentioned in this video to spread unkind messages. And with that, I hope you enjoy this video. Hear me out. It is 2020. Miss Rona decided to make her debut and every country went into lockdown. People are obsessed with making TikTok dances, baking bread, and whipped coffee. Or at least I was, because that was like my only way of keeping in touch with society. Lots of folk going on fun employment, taking a break from the hustle and grind of the corporate rat race, or accepting their new lives of working in the same rooms they sleep in. And in that same time, there was a surge of personal finance YouTubers that came out of nowhere and are kind of here to stay. Now, I'm not talking about those ads and channels that are like, start a dropshipping business, buy this course, you'll be rich like me if you do XYZ. This is more so for the influencers that are focused on giving personal finance advice as well as investing advice without obviously scamming them in the process. They deliver the normally super dry and boring topic in fun and entertaining ways and have the cool sets, houses, and cars to have some form of credibility. Now, I can't really knock the fact that I was obsessed with them pretty much like everyone else, and I'm honestly still guilty of throwing on one of their videos while I'm multitasking. After watching probably hours and days worth of personal finance content, it hit me. Personal finance is not a crazy concept. It's a concept that we all know deep down, sort of like eating healthy. We all know that eating a candy bar isn't as nutritious as eating a salad, sort of like how we know that saving for retirement is better than blowing it off on random impulsive purchases that don't really add value to our lives. Well, this is also assuming that retirement is still a thing and Earth doesn't implode on itself due to our quickly deteriorating environment. Over the course of a year or so, I've probably spent around 100 hours watching personal finance influencers giving advice that sort of just collapses on itself to the point where they're saying the same things over and over again. So I'm going to save you about 100 hours of watch time and summarize everything they're saying in 7 bullet points. Number 1, set a budget. 2, create an emergency fund of around 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. 3, eliminate all debt. 4, create a retirement account. 5, invest in index funds. 6, save 20% of your income. 7, minimize your spending. Which are honestly pretty decent personal finance advice. But what does that actually mean for the average person who makes $31,000 a year, which is around $2,200 a month after taxes, is in $30,000 in student loan debt, so around $393 in monthly payments, has $6,194 in credit card debt, so around $250 in monthly payments, and has the monthly expenses of $1,100 on the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment, spends $150 on utilities and Wi-Fi, $240 on groceries, and $60 on phone bills. Now, if you heard closely, notice how I didn't even include the cost of owning a car or having a transit pass. Transportation was too expensive to even consider in the budget, so let's assume that this average American works from home and lives walking distance to a Trader Joe's. On just these expenses alone, the average person spends around $2,200 a month just to survive. And if you caught on, that's around the amount they bring in every month. And this is a reality for 50% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. And as the famous Olivia Rodrigo once said, God, it is brutal out here. Sure, there are ways to make these expenses a bit cheaper, like renting a room in a 7-bedroom house, not getting into debt in the first place, or eating like a college student. And honestly, all of these combined will save a couple $100 a month. Man, if I just up and died one day, dead me would be so mad at myself if I was eating ramen and beans up to the point I just pieced on out of this world just to save a couple dollars. Now, some sacrifices are easier than others, but all of them do take away from the quality of life or potential career opportunities. Here's the thing though, personal finance YouTubers didn't get rich from saving $5 a day on skipping out on their morning Starbucks coffee. That's like trying to gain muscle through dieting. They became rich because they started out in more lucrative, risky paths in their careers, like starting a business or getting into real estate, grew their initial pot of wealth through those means, and then launched their influencer careers. What I'm really saying is that buying a $5 Starbucks coffee every day isn't what's stopping you from being rich, so don't let a random millionaire online shame you into believing that. And here's an example. You think Graham Stephan got rich by saving a couple $100 a month and putting them towards the index funds he preaches so much about? No. He was a successful real estate agent who also got super lucky buying investment property at the bottom of the housing market crash in 08 and 09. And now he's a social media influencer. And after going through his income transparency videos, it looks like being an influencer is where he is making the most of his money nowadays. The harsh reality is that, based off of a 2021 investment data report released by the Spectrum Group, the average millionaire is 62 years old. And 62 years old is around the age of retirement, whatever that means anymore. So to really visualize it, millionaires are just your average boomer. Give me a like. Wow, what a convenient and totally unplanned reminder. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button to help out the channel. Thanks. Kim was probably middle class their entire life. Set aside a couple $1,000s into a boring 401k retirement account offered by their employer, and that money grew at an average of 7% every year with index funds. Over the course of their lifetime, those few $100s a year pushed them into millionaire status by their 60s. But that sounds boring. No one wants to be old and rich. That takes too much time. We want to be young and rich. Young and rich with fancy clothes, fancy cars, fancy houses, which a lot of these personal finance influencers are. Not like making 6 figures a year kind of rich, but 6 figures a month kind of rich. And that's exactly how these personal finance influencers exploit you. Through personal rags to riches stories and empty promises of how they're gonna help you get rich quick. But is it really that easy? That simple? Well, if it were, then there would be absolutely no reason for these influencers to be telling you their secrets when they can just profit on them themselves. Instead, they create these clickbaity titles like, buy these 5 stocks and you will be rich, or this crypto will make you a millionaire, which are just so effective on us. But it doesn't really make any sense because it's near impossible to predict how the future market's gonna look like. Or it'll be a bait and switch, where once we click on it, we'll get the full picture, where it'll say, buy these 5 stocks and you'll be a millionaire, when in reality the title should be, buy these 5 index funds and you'll become a millionaire by the time you retire. And these videos usually share some kind of slow growth technique, otherwise known as wealth maintenance, going back to our example with Kimmy alike. But these techniques aren't really good for building wealth quick. And when they do give wealth building advice, it's usually half-baked, broad, or totally based on luck. The sad reality is that based off of that same Spectrum report, only 1% of millionaires are under the age of 35. So saving around 20% of your income and putting those towards index funds are probably not going to make you a millionaire by the time you turn 30. At this point, it sounds like I'm shading these influencers to the moon and back, but I honestly can't hate on them too much. They do give legitimate advice by introducing personal finance in entertaining ways to the point where it sticks. And I'm honestly in awe about how many times they can spin off the same advice over and over again, and their audiences just eat it up. But that ends this video. If you like this video, consider giving this video a thumbs up and hitting subscribe for more content like this in the future. If you disagree with anything I said, feel free to leave a comment below calling me a belligerent buffoon and let me know your personal thoughts. Thanks for watching. Toodles!